At this point, Kamala Harris was like, I ain't got nothing to lose. Let me start naming names. And let me tell you, in the new excerpts that have been released from Kamala Harris' book, 107 Days, she lists the names of Democrats who were supportive of her and the ones that were not so supportive. And unfortunately, the list of Democrats who are not so supportive is longer. Let's go ahead and get into it, you guys. So first off, we're going to start with the Obamas. So when she called up Barack Obama and asked for his support, this is what he said. He goes, Michelle and I are supportive, but not going to put a finger on the scale right now. Now, what I want to say about this is that with Michelle Obama, I don't know if she put out that statement and Barack was answering for the both of them, but Michelle Obama stood on business after the election, unlike Barack Obama, who was chummy with Trump at Jimmy Carter's funeral. Remember, Michelle Obama did not go to Jimmy Carter's funeral because she would have had to sit next to Trump, and she didn't go to that whack-ass inauguration either. So Michelle Obama, thank you for standing on business. But Barack Obama, I feel like Barack Obama hasn't been the same since he was president back in 2017. You know, January when Trump took over, something happened to Barack Obama. I think it's old age or something, but yeah, I ain't feeling Barack Obama like I used to. Mind you, Barack Obama was the first president that I voted for. Yes, the first black president. I was able to get him into the White House. And now it looks like, hell, he's sneaky. He's a snake. But let's go ahead and go on to the next person. So next, she asked Bernie Sanders for his support. And of course, Bernie is going to be Bernie. Bernie Sanders goes, please focus on the working class, not just on abortion. Well, Kamala had an economic plan that would have helped middle-class families. I mean, she was talking about loans for businesses, loans for homes. She also talked about how there's economic disparities between Latinos, blacks, and everybody. She had a working plan for everyone. But of course, Bernie Sanders is going to be like, we need to talk about the working class and all that. Shut up. You just jealous because it wasn't you. Bernie Sanders is going to forever be jealous of anybody who gets nominated for president. He literally still thinks that he is in 2016 when he actually had a chance. Now, Bernie, you way too old. Nobody cares. You've been exposed and you don't like identity politics. So identify your ass back in Vermont and leave the presidential race alone. Person up is Nancy Pelosi. She says we should have some kind of primary, not an anointment. Nancy Pelosi, what the hell were y'all gonna do in 107 days? Can someone answer that? What were you gonna do in 107 days? Because were y'all just gonna have one debate, then this open primary where we all vote on who we want, like in 107 days? Mind you, 107 days is not enough time to run a campaign. Now we know this, right? Now, I always go to the whole thing about, yes, Joe Biden should have never said that he was running again. In a perfect world, we would have had an open primary and let everybody run who wanted to run and pick the best candidate. But in 107 days, Kamala was who we was rocking with. And you should have said, hey, I'm rocking with you. One thing I want to say about Nancy Pelosi, she needs to be primary. Get her up out of there. She need to retire.
All I want you old hoes to do is to retire.
Let's go to the next person, Gavin Newsom. So she contacted Gavin Newsom and asked him for his support. And he sent her a text message back saying, hiking, we'll call back. He never did.
Wow.
Wow. Gavin Newsom never called back. Because again, Gavin Newsom wanted to be president. So he was hating on Kamala, basically like, oh, they're going to give it to her. Let me not answer this phone. Now, Gavin Newsom has been asked about this. And what he's claiming is that he didn't know what the number was. And so he just sent a text message back. Gavin Newsom not calling Kamala back or responding back to her, I knew that asshole would probably do something like that. I can picture that. I don't think that's a lie at all. He can say whatever, oh, I didn't know what the number was, so I just said I'm hiking, I'll call you back. He can say whatever he wants to. I know that was a lie. He was hoping that somebody would endorse him and then he could be the presidential nominee. He was never going to be the nominee. It wasn't his time. And hopefully in 2028, it is still not his time. Y'all can be fooled by Gavin Newsom and this whole, oh yeah, I'm trolling Trump and all this stuff. You can be confused by him, but don't forget, he's the same person who had Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon on his podcast, and he basically was eating their ass, not even pushing back or saying anything. He wasn't debating them. He just basically nodded his head and agreed with everything. Gavin Newsom is not to be trusted. He's literally a Republican, but he disguises himself as a Democrat. Trust me, I live in California. So the next person that we're going to talk about is Gretchen Whitmer. So according to Kamala Harris, it says that Gretchen Whitmer was more reticent. According to Harris, Whitmer, she wrote, signaled support, but said she needed to let the dust settle. What dust do we need to let settle? It's only 107 days. You either with it or you not. But of course, I think Whitmer kind of wanted it to be her, but she's not as blunt about it as Gavin Newsom. Kamala Harris also talks about Governor J.B. Pritzker, which basically he stated that his state is hosting the party convention that summer and said that he could not commit to supporting her. Which, okay, what does that have to do with you supporting her or not? It sounds like you kind of wanted to run yourself, but hey, what do I know? So now let's go ahead to the Democrats who actually did fully support Kamala Harris. Pete Buttigieg said he was all in. So what he stated was, before you say anything, I'm all in. Also, she listed here that Josh Shapiro was fully in line. He got in line and supported her. But one of her biggest supporters was Hilary Clinton. She stated that she called Hillary Clinton to ask her for her support. And she said, I want to be a part of your war council. Then she said, suiting up for battle. So Hillary Clinton was all in. Say what you want about Hillary. At least she was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do this thing. And she was on full board for Kamala Harris. And that makes sense because if you remember, Hillary and Bill put out a statement immediately saying that they were supporting Kamala Harris. They fell in line. And don't forget, it was that picture on election night where it was her and Kamala Harris sitting side by side next to each other. Now, unfortunately, they did not look happy in the picture, but you could see that Hillary Clinton was very supportive of Kamala Harris. Now, again, I go back to my earlier statement. Where the hell were they going to do a primary? And also, too, history would teach you when LBJ had to drop out, he went with his vice president. So technically, when you think about it, yeah, any president is going to support their vice president to then replace them. Sorry that Barack Obama didn't do it to Joe Biden. He actually told him to wait because his son had just passed. But typically, you go with the vice president as your successor. And so naturally, Joe Biden was going to go with that. I do think, again, Joe Biden should have dropped out earlier. He should have said that he was not going to run. Originally, he said he was a one-term president. But let's be honest about something. I did not think Joe Biden was going to make it all 8 years. I mean, can we keep it real? He was not going to make it all 8 years. So naturally, I did see Harris becoming president, whether or not he decided to leave or, he got sick and, we not wishing bad on nobody, but I mean, Biden up there in age and knowing what we know now, he probably only had a couple of years left anyway. But anyway, you guys, let me know what you think about Kamala Harris' book, 107 Days. Are you going to order the book? I'm excited to read it. I'm also going to the San Francisco book tour show, so hopefully I get to see some of y'all there. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I love y'all. Deuces. We out. I still think it was rigged. But hey, allegedly, that Starlink, Elon Musk, you can't tell me something was going on, something wasn't going on with that. But hey, I'll go ahead and let it go. So we'll continue.